My name is Angus Denny and I'm a professional interim manager that helps organisations with their IT and business process outsourcing. My area of speciality is the scoping, the setup, the extensions and the commercial management of contracts. In particular, I bring a supplier perspective and way of thinking to negotiations. I find this is particularly powerful during the negotiation phase. A lot of organisations don't have that supplier perspective, and understanding how IT suppliers think and work is of particular value to clients. Also, I would say that information technology and business process outsourcing, they're very broad areas of specialty, and I look particularly within them at systems integration and application development contracts. The biggest challenges facing organisations considering outsourcing, the people perspective is critical. The people are the employees right at the centre of any business, critical to any business success. Outsourcing affects people very often, and making sure that they are looked after, that things are going right for them, is absolutely critical. Close behind that, there are operational and financial imperatives. Is it going to improve? Is the transaction going to improve the business? Is it going to improve the operational efficiencies? And ultimately, is it going to improve the bottom line and make the organisation, the company, successful financially and help them to better succeed? And it's getting all of that right that is really the biggest challenge to companies that face outsource. And again, external assistance, external perspective is very powerful in helping achieve that. The one really important question that I help suppliers, that I help organisations resolve is, I'm not an expert in outsourcing. How do I know the supplier I choose is going to give me the best value for money? And that's, I find, is the kind of question that most organisations want answering, and that's the question that I can help with. It is true that most organisations do have pretty competent procurement organisations nowadays, but they're unlikely to be experts in outsourcing. Typically, they are transactions that come along not that often, quite infrequently, so it's unlikely they're going to have expertise. They probably won't have deep supplier experience, and in any case, they've got their own full-time day jobs to do. So something as business critical as outsourcing, as to get that right, really needs that outside perspective, that independent thought, and that's where I can come in and really help. It's really the full spectrum across the supplier piece, and I find it depends particularly on where in the cycle that the supplier, that the organisation is. For example, when they're right at the start, when they're setting out on this journey to succeed in an outsourced contract, it's all about engaging with stakeholders, understanding scope, sorting out exactly what's required. Then it's going through the tendering process. It's then negotiating and down selecting with suppliers, and then it's then finally negotiating and closing the deal. And it's really at that point that the fun really starts, because once you've selected a supplier, you really want to get the best value out of them, and that's all about negotiating and managing the contract. And it's about managing supplier conformance and making sure they're doing what they say they're going to do. And change is another big thing, and it's really all of those things that, in my experience, determine whether a contract succeeds or fails. One example that immediately springs to mind is work that I did with a public sector organisation, where I looked after all of the. We had an existing outsourced contract, and I looked after all the contract extension and change work with the team that I was running at the time, really helping them get the best value from their contract, and making sure that the supplier did what they said they were going to do. I think my unique selling point is that I bring a supplier perspective to outsource negotiations and outsourcing procurements. Having worked supply side in the industry for a long time, I know all the tricks, if you like, that suppliers use to maximise benefit for themselves, and having that inside track is incredibly powerful for clients when it comes to negotiations. So that's really how I think what I think my unique selling point is. My best professional trait, I would say, is that I have an open, honest, can-do attitude. I look particularly for win-wins in negotiations where both sides feel they're getting something out of it. And I think that that open, honest approach, combined with my hard-working, humorous, can-do attitude, is really what I can bring to, which is the personal trait that I'm most pleased of. If I was to sum up what I do in one sentence, it would be. I bring a supplier perspective to outsource negotiations, which is having that inside knowledge can be very powerful when you're sitting on the other side of the table negotiating with suppliers. So it's bringing that supplier knowledge, that supplier perspective to contract negotiations and discussions.